Hey, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Nomadic Soul. I am so excited that you are joining me this week, y'all. I am almost about a month away from my trip, and I am so excited. I don't know if you can tell, I'm so excited. I'm also like a little bit nervous, but the excitement is definitely overshadowing the nerves. But this episode, I really actually wanted to give y'all some info, I guess, about what I'm doing to prepare for my Spanish summer, because I know these last couple of videos I actually gave you of like travels and all of those things here locally, but I also want to talk about what I'm doing in preparation for my trip. So the first thing that I would have to say is budget. I cannot say that enough. All right. About 3 years ago, I actually took a trip where I went to Toronto. I went to Scotland, Paris, London, and then I ended the trip in LA. Now, I learned a lot in the back end of that trip. Once I was back here, I was back home. I learned a lot about what I wish I would have done before that trip. Okay, so the Scotland leg of my trip was actually an opportunity for me to serve at a camp. And so I did raise support to get to Scotland and to cover all the expenses that I would have while I was in Scotland serving at camp. But the rest of that trip was solo on my own dime, my own money, right? So leading up to this trip, I was working as a contractor for an organization, and my contract was ending. So I was like, okay, not gonna renew my contract. But then also my lease was ending where I was staying with my roommates. It's like, okay, not gonna renew my lease because I don't actually know like what's gonna happen when I come back. I don't know when I'm coming back, like, you know, those kinds of things. And so I didn't have anything tying me here to Texas. So I was like, okay, great. So anyways, I had saved up a little bit of money. So I was like, okay, I should be fine. So we get there, things are great. I'm in Toronto for 3 weeks by myself. The fourth week, my great friend Danica, she joined me at the end of the trip, of the Toronto leg of the trip, and then she continued the rest of the trip with me. And so when we got back, this is where I realized that I should have budgeted better, because I got back. Obviously, I don't have a place to live, and I currently don't have a job. So what we finna do? Because where we about to eat at? So anyways, thank God for friends. I actually was able to stay with one of my really good friends. And I stayed with her when I got back. And then I eventually obviously found my job that I currently work at, that I absolutely love. But it was a struggle coming back and not really having finances reserved for when I got back. And so I was working, I can do hair and things like that. And so I was doing hair again, and I was also like being a nanny again, because those are things that I had done before. So I was doing that to make money, and it was helpful until I found my job. Thank you, Lord, for my job. But I realized, like, dang, I should have set myself up, like I said before, I should have set myself up in a way that I was ready when I got back, that I didn't have to worry about all of the bills and all of the things like that. Like, how was I going to make money? Because it was very, very stressful, and it was very anxiety inducing. Now, I'm going to say this. In this 35th year of my life, I turned 35 in November of last year. And this year has honestly been one that has been very transformative for me. I've learned a lot about myself building up to this, and now it feels like I'm actually putting those things into practice. So one of those things is embracing my mistakes. So I'm a perfectionist. I'm a people pleaser. I work for affirmation. I know these things about myself. I am very self-aware in that area. But that can also cause me to be very anxious and very like overwhelmed whenever things are not going well, or they're not perfect, or I am not presented as someone who has their stuff together, or someone that is perfect. And so that caused me a lot of anxiety and stress when I got back. Well, now I'm like, no, Margaret, you learned from that experience. So how do we use what we learned from that experience to not do it again? So this time around, I actually started to save. So I put in a request to my supervisor in December of last year. So I have been wanting to go to this place that I'm going. I almost said where I was going for my Spanish summer. I've been wanting to go for a little while, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ask. And it took me from October to December to actually work up the courage to ask. So I asked my boss, and he was like, I mean, let's see what's the worst that can happen. So come back from the winter break, and we had the conversation, and the answer is yes. Like, oh yeah, it's cool, you can do that. And I was like, okay, oh my gosh, like this is really real. I think up until that point it didn't feel like real. So at that point, I actually started to save and put money aside specifically for my Spanish summer. There are some things that I had to sacrifice. I wasn't able to go out to eat like I wanted to. I love to get my nails and my toes done. Hey, sometimes you just gotta go a little longer without that rib on the nails and the toes, okay? Maybe you gotta do your little mani-pedi at the house. But like cutting out things that were not essential. I canceled certain subscriptions because I was like, okay, do you really wanna go? Okay, then you gotta pay for it to get there, right? You gotta live when you come back, and you have an apartment, baby girl, and a car note. You cannot be living frivolously like you were the last time. Like, we gotta plan for this. So I started to set money aside that was specifically for this trip, and making sure that I can still manage and pay all of my bills and all this kind of stuff, right? So and also and as I was like budgeting and stuff like that, I also did not wait until now to start purchasing things. I actually was like, okay, over time, I'm just gonna start getting the things that I need. So I booked my flight a few months ago. Then I waited a little while. Then I booked one of my Airbnbs for the trip a few months ago. Then a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, I know that I'm gonna need new walking shoes because, side story right here, when I was in Toronto, I actually sprained my foot because I didn't have proper walking shoes, and I was walking 6 to 10 miles a day, which was a fun adventure. I did do something interesting to my foot. Not really sure. It was like the adrenaline was on yesterday, so it was fine. But then once I got home, it started to relax. I could feel it, the pressure a little bit, and I can feel it now as I'm walking. So we'll see how that pans out, because nobody wants to be limping through Canada. I ain't got time for that. So I was like, I need walking shoes, like good ones, right? So I knew I needed some. So I was like, okay, I'm going to research some good walking shoes, and then I'm going to purchase some when I feel like I'm ready. So I narrowed it down to 2 different brands. I narrowed it down to Hoka's and Brooks. I ended up going with the Brooks because I just like the fit of them better. They really feel like they just right to my feet, and I feel like I actually am walking on support and stuff like that. Anyways, that's a whole nother video. But yeah, so I ended up buying new walking shoes a couple of weeks ago. So those big purchases, I spaced them out. I don't want to wait or try to bulk them all together and then be like, now I'm like scrounging and all this, and now I don't have, like, so I just wanted to break them up instead of trying to wait, like do them all at the beginning or all at the end. I wanted to break them up over time. So I have only one more big purchase that I have to make, and that is an external hard drive. But other than that, all of the other little things that I have to get, I just kind of pick them up here and there. Because of my job, I already travel a lot in Texas. And so I actually keep a travel kit for me, like with all of, the toiletries, the travel size toiletries and all of that kind of stuff that stays packed and ready just because of my job. So a lot of that stuff I also already have here, and I don't have to like repurchase it before I go there. And then some of it I am gonna wait and purchase it when I get there. So budget is very important. Number 2. Because this is a Spanish summer, that means I need to learn Spanish, okay? Here's the thing. I have been dabbling in my Spanish for about 2.5 years, okay? I took Spanish in high school. I don't know how I passed, but I passed, okay? Took Spanish in high school, didn't use it at all after high school. And so as I've been, learning more Spanish in the last 2.5 years, it really was about the last year that I started to take it even more seriously. Like, I was like, no, like I am dead set. I really want to take my Spanish learning seriously, learning Spanish. So number 1, Duolingo. It's an easy app to get, and it's free. They also have Super Duolingo and all the upgrades and all of those kinds of things. Listen, those things are amazing too. I have stuck with the free version of it, and then every once in a while you get these achievements, and they actually give you the Super Duolingo for free for like a week or like a trial or whatever. So you can decide like how you want to use Duolingo. There's other apps as well. I'm just an advocate for Duolingo because I really like it. You can interact with friends on it. It's a lot. So I like Duolingo, so I've been doing that. I'm on a 370, I think 370 something day streak right now of learning Spanish. So that has been very, very foundational for me. The other thing is all across my apartment, I have not post-it notes, what are they called? Index cards. There we go. Index cards, very bright, loud colored index cards all over my house that are labeling staple items in the home. Like la sala, I have la puerta, what's over here? Oh, el sofá, la lámpara, I have my stove, my washing machine, my refrigerator. Like I have my bathroom, el baño. Like I have all of it labeled because I'm like, I need to see these words all the time. I want to know these words, right? But those are two things. Duolingo, labeling my house. The third thing is I've been talking to my friends. I do have some friends who are either native Spanish speakers or fluent in Spanish. And so having them also help and support me in my Spanish learning journey. Whether that's like a simple conversation here and there, or if that's a frequent conversation like daily where I'm talking to them in Spanish or they're challenging me in my Spanish words. That has been very helpful because conversational Spanish is actually where I struggle the most. I get a little bit of Spanish anxiety. I think I said that in one of my other videos. And so that conversational piece is actually the piece that I want to work on the most. Hence me going and being immersed in Spanish culture and Spanish language because I really want to be fluent in Spanish. I listen to Spanish music. I watch Spanish shows, YouTube videos, of course, books. Oh yes, I'm reading on my Kindle app. I actually have a book and it's called Spanish, I think it's Spanish Conversations for Beginners, and so, or Spanish Stories. So in the book, they give you a full story and it is fully in Spanish. And as you're reading the story, you see some words are bolded. Those are possibly like new vocabulary words or things that might not be as easily recognizable. So you read the story. At the end of the story, they give you a summary in Spanish and in English. And then they give you a list of like those vocab words, the words that were bolded throughout the story. They give you a list and they tell you what that means. And then they ask you questions in Spanish to see how much you actually retain or how much you can actually, recall from the story. So I really like that, especially as a reader. I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm in my phone, on my Kindle app, on my iPad, on my Kindle app, I'm reading all the time. So getting to read those Spanish stories, absolutely. YouTube has also served as a way for me to learn and do more research about the place that I'm going so that I can actually be like, ooh, let's see what things I want to do. Which leads me to number 3 is try to plan. You might be an adventurous or itinerant person where you're like, oh, I'm just going to move from place to place, or I'm just going to go with the flow. I say this, I fly by the seat of my pants. And I'm good with that for the most part. I do not have to have a structured itinerary. I want to go where the wind leads me. Like, right? Sigue el sol, follow the sun. I'm going wherever the sun go, that's where I'm going, right? But when it comes to some people, they prefer a little bit more structure in their planning. So look, if you know that there's some places like, I want to do this, I want to do that, hey. And if you only got a short amount of time, 7 days is not that long compared to 2 whole months, right? And so there are some places that I've seen, I was like, oh, gotta go there, especially the markets. Absolutely trying to hit up as many markets as I possibly can. But those things, I don't have to put them in place. There's some places that might require for me to buy a ticket to go for admission. I'll get those things a little closer to when I get there. Again, I'm a planner, but not like that. Like, I'm like, no, I got an overall general plan, and then we gonna see how this thing works. We gonna see how it shake when I get there, and we're gonna make it work, like, or whatever. It's gonna be an adventure either way. And so whatever type of person you tend to be, just make a plan for yourself. If you're like, no, I'm good with being spontaneous and just doing things as the day starts, then go for that. But if that's the type of thing that's going to stress you out, then plan your trip out however you see that happening. Because I know me, again, people say all the time I'm a free spirit. I really am, and I might want to move around. So I'm thinking about, okay, well, I'm not gonna get Airbnb for 2 months, and I might not even want to stay there for 2 months. I'm gonna get that Airbnb for 1 month, and then when I'm ready, I'm like, all right, let's stay in the same place, or let's go somewhere else and see what else we can see. This is a trip of a lifetime to me, and so I want to make sure that I plan in a way that allows me the freedom to do the things that I want to do however I want to do them. Okay, number 4, research. Like I said before, YouTube has been a great way for me to do some research. Obviously, the internet as well. My assistant, ChatGPT, is also a great way for me to do some research. I've been thinking, hey, what are some of the cultural things that I need to be aware of here? What are some of the ways that I can immerse myself in the language without being like that touristy person that's like, man, where's this? And da da da. No, like I'm not going there for them to cater to me. I'm going there to be immersed in their culture, and I really want to do my part to do that. And so like, what are the things that I can do there to have this even more rich cultural experience, learning, what's the customs there? Like all of those kinds of things to do research there. What's the like actual history of this country or this place that I'm going? Things like that. So doing that research. Also, the area, is it safe? What's the safety protocols? Like, what is the crime rate there? Like those types of things, what safety tools are allowed there? You know what I mean? What's some of the like must experience things there? I'm an outdoorsy girl, so I'm also like, okay, where are the mountains? Where can I go hiking? Where can I walk outside? I can go sit at the beach. I'm not gonna really all the way get in the water. Like I might dabble my toes in it. But when it comes to being a beachy girl, I'm a beachy girl that wants to sit on the beach. Okay? Put me in a swimming pool, not a beach. But when it comes to hiking and getting outside, baby, put me in the mountain. Get me in the mountain and with the trees and the birds and the animals that sometimes I'm a little afraid of, but put me out there. Like, you know what I mean? So those things matter to me. So I've done some research about where to do those things and some activities, all that kind of stuff. And then the last thing that I will say that has been very pivotal for me is prayer. For real. That is, as it might sound cliche, but I am being honest, prayer. The Lord knows my heart and knows that I love to travel, knows that I love culture, knows that I love people. He gave me this heart and this love for all of these things. And so I've prayed like, hey, Lord, how do we make this experience the best one? Help me to be open-minded and open and receptive to whatever interactions or experiences you might have me to experience. Not just when I get there, but even leading up to it. When I was planning to do this Spanish summer, I was not sure if I was going to do a YouTube channel like to vlog and stuff. And originally I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do it when I get there. But then I was like, no, because you actually love to travel. You love food. You love language and all these things. Like, why not just start vlogging now? And so this is a new experience for me, kind of getting myself out there and talking about my trips and talking about all these things. So that's even a new experience. So just trying to be open to whatever experiences the Lord has for me and how to move through them, but also safety and protection and all of that kind of stuff while I'm there, and for my people here at home and all this kind of stuff. So those different things like that. I just wanted to be very intentional about prayer, finances, to make sure that this trip is funded and that I am able to go and enjoy myself and not have to come home burdened with financial guilt and all that kind of stuff. So praying for those things specifically has been also very life-changing, and it's also been really encouraging in my relationship with God, because sometimes we get afraid to ask God about our big dreams, our big desires, and because we don't know if we deserve it, or we don't know if he's going to answer it, and we will be disappointed if he doesn't answer it in a certain way, and all of those kinds of things. But in praying through these things, I have really just come to realize, like, hey, like, God is faithful, and God wants to give us the desires of our hearts as they align with his desires for us. And I cannot sit here and say that God did not wire me this way, because my love for travel, my love for people, my love for culture, this is not something that just happened in my adult life. This has been a part of me since I was a child. I remember being in elementary school, and there's this program called UIL, and you get to compete in different categories and stuff. One of the categories that I actually competed in was maps, charts, and graphs. I used to love being able to get a map and an atlas and all these kinds of things and find different places. And that sparked that joy of travel. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many places in the world for us to see. You know, shout out to my friend's dad who took me on my first trip out of the state of Texas when we went to New York. Her family, I got to go with them to New York, and we did a road trip that really like encouraged my love for road trips. And so these desires that I have, they've been here, and the Lord is so faithful and gracious to allow me to like walk in them in this season, and I'm grateful, and I'm gonna take advantage of every opportunity that I get to do that. So hopefully you guys kind of learned a little bit, or hopefully some of these tips were helpful. Some of these things were helpful for you. If you are a traveler, whether it's local travel or international travel, whatever kind of traveler you are, all of these things can be used to make your travel experience that much better. Find those gems in your local spot, wherever you live. Travel those places and enjoy those things. And then as you continue to enjoy those things, continue to expand. You don't have to go international. You don't have to go out of your state. There are places right in your backyard that are beautiful for you to travel, and you can see and you can experience those things. And so, like I said before, I hope these things, budgeting, obviously learning and practicing. If you're learning a new language, do that. Planning, researching, and prayer. And I'll be back at some point. I'm not gonna say when, maybe in the next couple of weeks, to give some more things that I'm doing to prepare for my trip, especially as it gets closer. And of course, I'm gonna have to do a packing video and all of those kinds of things. So I'm so excited that you guys are joining me on this journey. Next week, I think I'm gonna post a video about a trip back to my hometown and some of my hometown staples that I cannot resist whenever I get to go back to Waco, Texas. So I hope to see y'all next week on another episode of Nomadic Soul. Bye.
I was trying to see.
Where are we going?
We're going on a walk.
Down by the river.
It's right there.
We've had to ask for directions a few times, so we're practicing on our London accent, which is probably not the greatest, but we're here. We're looking for the food place because we're starving.